Ooh, fancy new tune and everything. Welcome to the very first post-game lobby of the Spring Split. My name is Shox, and I'm joined by Quickshot, as well as the founder of Origin, and of course the general manager for Origin, the Fishio. Welcome, gentlemen.
I'll take the founder too.
Yeah, you will?
Well, I got both right there. You never said Pekka's name.
That's true.
I did. I said Pique.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we just
You're
interrupted.
trying to start something. The Fishio, well, now that I have your attention, seeing how this didn't really count, when does Origin actually play?
Tomorrow. No, come on.
No. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We're old colleagues. You know, we
It's
got to,
all
of course.
good.
But yeah, tell me about this. This is obviously not an easy first game to play. So maybe the Fishio first, and I expect it. Tell me, you know, how it was just playing your very first game, getting your players ready. Of course, you know, how it ended up isn't that great. But what was the experience so far coming to the studio and playing for the first time?
I mean, first of all, it's very strange to be on the other side. There's a lot of things you got to get used to when you're just sitting there watching the game with the players and kind of trying mentally getting ready for the game you're about to play. But I think, I mean, all our players are pros. You know, we have a ton of veterans on the side as well. They've done this time and time again. So it makes it easier because they know exactly what they actually need to do to be ready to play. Mm-hmm. And Andre and Fabian as well have complete control over the guys here on game days. So I think the preparation was pretty smooth and was perfectly fine. Just a weird feeling still to sit over here and not actually stand and yell on a microphone.
Yeah, and I mean, for you, it's probably the same because you haven't even been here in so long, and now you are back with Origin, which is, of course, your team. So what has it been like just going through this first day?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years, I think, since I was here. And I mean, it's super exciting to go back, see the crowd. Everything changed, which looks super nice right now. And I love it. And I mean, I was excited to watch this first game. I knew it was going to be super hard. And we came thinking, yeah, it's probably going to be the worst weekend of the whole split, the hardest weekend. But I'm still super happy. Like, we were listening to the comms. The guys were playing to their practice. Like he said, they've been preparing with Andre and Fabian to this. And I was really happy. I think if it wasn't G2, if it was some other team that made more mistakes or didn't make us make one, it was one mistake pretty much that costed us the game. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm really happy, and I think we will get more wins.
Yeah, positive look for. It is a hard weekend to start for you guys. You also had something to say about.
Yeah.
No problem.
This is what you get for breaking up with me.
I knew it was you.
I do have to say, in the hype video, you said like, yeah, you were almost like salty, like G2. Oh, they have all these good players, and then they also get caps, and then of course they also play with this draft. What was the reaction when you saw that came out, and is that why this was such a hard game?
Well, the thing about this kind of draft is obviously the first parts of the games are not super difficult. When it's like Karthus jungle, he just kind of farms, doesn't do too much. We knew we were going to win bot lane as well with the Draven Morgana pick. But the thing you kind of need to be scared of, and the reason the game kind of snowballs so fast, is once you fall behind against like triple poke into instant Rakan engage. I'm almost crying here because we lost. And Karthus ulti, like you can die so quickly if you are behind. So I think if you look at the first 15 minutes, you saw a very even game. It could go both ways. You know, one kill here, one kill there. But the moment the poke comp gets ahead like this, very, very, very nasty comp then to play against. And it just does this, and you can just lose really quickly. So I told Pekka as well, like, I didn't actually care if we lost, like if we lost this game in 25 minutes or 45 minutes, because that kind of draft, if you do fall behind and they played well, which they did, they will just always get a bunch of kills and then end the game very, very fast.
It's like go next. What did you make of the big perks 80 carry reveal on
Great
Zoe?
80 carry.
It's interesting to see, of course, the Jace Zoe, but
Yeah.
the thing that was fun and interesting to me is that the Karthus jungle was the first time we saw it all day. If you look at the picks and bans that we saw throughout every single game, there's so many different ways that you can play this game. And when you think of what Caps can do in the mid lane, what Perks is going to be able to do in that bottom lane, and the fact that he can play mages or potentially add in additional 80 carries to the mix, I'm very excited about this meta as a whole. It makes these two lives and jobs really difficult. Because not only do you have to figure out...
Yeah, those two guys.
I'm trying to pretend both of you are still smart at this game. But you know what I mean? Like, when you compare every single game and every single draft, it's really, really difficult to anticipate what direction people are going to go. And then you've got teams like Vitality that throw Attila on Victor. I was surprised to see that. I like Attila on AD carries, but I'm happy to see Vitality playing mages in the bottom lane. I'm happy to see Zoe. It just adds variety and excitement to the league, and it makes it more entertaining for us to cast and to watch.
It's a little bit like summer split start, where now it's up to every team to figure out which style works for them, and they need to figure it out fairly quickly. And then once you have your style, you need to learn, is this actually a style that can win
Is
in
it
this
good?
meta?
Yeah.
So you might be forced to change it after. I mean, obviously last summer we had the only 80 carries from Misfits versus only mages from like Fnatic. And now it is, as you said, it's very up in the air. Which makes it, again, really difficult also when you're kind of judging drafts. Like, is this a good draft? Is this a bad draft? Because there's so many things you need to consider. In this case here, again, I felt like we had a really good setup on our side. And if we get a bunch of early kills on the Draven in the bot lane, we start getting the first turret instead. And then the snowball goes to us.
I saw that happen. It wasn't Origin, though. It was Misfits that
I
showed
think
It did
how a Draven...
Snowball.
But he was so close in our game.
Yes,
as well.
it was so close.
There were like 3 times that he was like 1 axe away of getting a kill.
Yeah.
Like the first blood went to Myth instead of him. The first time, the second time as well, he couldn't get the kill. Imagine if he went out of the lane, like 3-0, it could have been a completely different game as well. Like a Misfit game, you know?
No, it's 100% true.
Hilarious. We also, in the cast room, you know this, we have like all the monitors. We have a camera on you guys constantly. I have to say, it was so cool and so endearing. You two were so close to the screen and so nervous, almost like probably dads looking over, the team that is on the playing field.
Important to note that while Deficio is on one side and Nick is on the other,
Don't get jealous.
Andre's sitting in the middle. Listen,
jealous.
I'm so jelly right now. You have no idea. You're a home wrecker.
You wanted to sit
You're a home
I'm sure you are
wrecker.
requested to sit here.
I actually specifically said I want you in the middle because I can't.
It did, yeah.
But while the two of them are watching the game, Andre's just sitting there yammering away, chatting, feedback, input, information. So it's interesting. It's an exciting start to the league.
Yeah.
And the only team that allowed a former Worlds representative to win was Origin. Of course,
We did it for the league.
Went
We
up
did
like
it
with,
to show
with
that Worlds was
Vitality,
legit.
Yeah.
with Vitality and Fnatic going down. I was on the hype train. I wanted Origin to win, not only because
Did you vote for them?
I did indeed. Myself, Law, and StatsBot.
StatsBot.
And we have
Smart
been
guy.
let down.
StatsBot.
Really smart.
Pickett,
Yeah.
do you know that there's a tattoo on the line?
A tattoo?
Have you heard about the tattoo bet? By the way?
No, I
I'm
haven't.
going to fill you in.
Why didn't you tell
okay?
me anything of this?
On
You're
Euphoria,
not getting a tattoo.
not for you
Oh,
guys.
you're
Not for you
getting a
guys.
tattoo.
It's between me and Frostguren, but
Oh, yeah.
your organization is one of the things that's involved. Frostguren and I bet on Euphoria that if Origin win the league, win LEC in spring, Frostguren will get a tattoo.
Playoffs or end of first?
End first, for the
first.
whole thing, all of spring. All of spring. And you have to win finals.
Why are you laughing?
And if
Take her out of the sun.
G2 win the
Mute her
split,
microphone.
I have to get a tattoo.
Of what?
So she's going to get a king, and currently it might say Origin or LEC. We're defining the words.
Oh,
It'd
if
be like a
there's
crown.
Origin and King, that would be sick.
If G2 win, I have to get a frog because her nickname is Icelandic
Oh, yes,
for
yes,
frog.
yes, yes.
So seriously, I put a lot of faith in that man.
I also,
You can't let him down.
she got the bad end of the bargain. She has to like
know.
tattoo a team name, and
Yep.
a frog could
Yeah,
be really cool.
It could be. I'm probably
The
going
Origin logo's cool as well.
It is, but
And
I'm
you're
going with
biased
frog.
forever.
Great logo.
Yeah,
logo.
that's crazy. Well, shenanigans. We'll have some more time for fun in just a bit, but I also want to take a look at the standings. The other teams played today as well, and there were a fair bit of upsets. SK Gaming, they won twice versus Fnatic at the beginning of the day. Schalke 04 beat Vitality. Misfits and G2 won, of course, as well as Splice. So, how do you guys look back on what happened today, and what's the most surprising result, Peke, maybe?
Probably Fnatic. I expected them to win one of the games at least. Like after the first one, I was like, maybe they got caught off guard, but the second game, it showed that they were maybe not as good as I expected, or SK was better than I expected.
Yeah.
It was a bit of both.
Yeah, SK were
Yeah, we're
really
pretty-
good.
they were pretty
Self-made
good, that's true.
put up one hell of a performance.
I mean,
This
he's
is what
great.
it was.
He's
Yeah.
a really good player. And he's obviously another one of those young European talented players that will enter the LEC and probably surprise people who didn't watch him in Mad Lions.
Another impressive Polish jungler as well.
Yep.
A lot of them.
Poland keeps dishing out just top tier junglers.
I think on Euphoria, the episode we did for this week, we talked quite a bit about Schalke and SK probably surprising people in terms of the level they could bring, like being a bit underrated. I like the Schalke roster a lot. I think actually for a team who lost 4 players and a coach, they managed to rebuild super well. And SK keeping the 3 Mad Lions guys together and then Pyrian, who actually showed up big time today as well, can prove to be a really deadly combo. And it's scary in the way that I feel like there are so many teams. I know it's only day one, but there are so many teams where the rosters are actually like really, really good.
Yeah.
And if I compare them to like last year, Spring Split, where we had the league where everyone just beat each other and we didn't know who was going to make playoffs.
Yeah.
I feel like the rosters now, especially in the middle, are stronger than the ones from that Spring Split. So it's super, super competitive. We will take a 17-1 score. That's also enough for us. So we don't
get kicked out, right?
we don't need to worry about the middle
Oh,
of the
I love
table.
it.
But
That's true. That's true.
I love the confidence. I mean, I was really happy to see Upset playing very, very confidently, and I was also happy to see Misfits showing up today.
Yeah.
I was nervous to see what level of play this team would have. I think super teams generally, maybe even worldwide, struggle more than they succeed. You know, there's too many things to balance, too many play styles to figure out.
we lost one game. Calm
Now,
down.
admittedly, Misfits, step up and Misfits had a very strong game against one of the arguably weaker rosters in the league. So I want to see what they can do against, tougher opponents. But like Hans Summer, he just popped off, and Maxwell seemed to make some good decisions early on in the game, which allowed them to run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, Hansama is the guy who's still on that roster, and even if all the rest didn't work, he worked on Drave. He did the work, of course, with Gorilla. It looked good. They're playing SK Gaming tomorrow, as far as I know, so that's going to be a fantastic game as
Really
well.
good game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I think all of them. Also, you guys are playing Fnatic, of course.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can talk about that in a second. If you look at everything, you guys were, of course, building your roster, and you guys have come out to say, well, the players we have are actually the players we wanted, and this is, we like the roster that we've put together. Who did you look at as the teams that won the off season or that made the best moves in the off season?
I mean, I think if you split it up into teams who stayed in the LEC, who already had rosters, and then new teams who joined with 0 players or lost almost every player, I think if you look at the ones who stayed, I mean, G2 Esports, you get Caps and Mickey.
Yeah.
It's hard not to win the off-season in that sense. And if I look at completely new rosters or where you lost almost everything, like I obviously consider us one of the winners. And then I think either Schalke or SK, when it comes to the guys who lost almost everyone or completely new team.
Why not Misfits? When you think of the, Pumandu, Gorilla.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't really think
So
about
where
Misfits,
would they
yeah.
rank, right? Because now that's not winning. That's a complete overhaul. So
Yeah,
it's slightly
I
different.
would say
good point.
Misfits was probably the craziest. The first time I saw it, I was like, damn, they got everyone,
Yeah.
Do you think it'll work?
I don't think it will be. It will have the super team effect. I think. I don't think they will be as good, but they will be pretty good.
What's
Especially
the super team effect?
that they will lose every game, like he was saying before.
It'll
like
fail.
us.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
I
they
guess,
won today.
I guess if you
Yeah.
compare also to last year's rosters, then you can argue, is Schalke now stronger than the one last year? Probably not. So I
No.
guess in that case, you didn't win the off-season, even though you were stuck in a tough situation.
But from rebuilding from nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
pretty
You were
good.
forced to
They're
rebuild
yeah.
from nothing, right? But obviously, I mean, with the players Misfits get, if they click, yeah, sure, you might just have put together like an insane roster that can maybe compete with Origin.
Yeah, I mean, delving a bit deeper into Origin, interesting roster, I should say. Patrick, of course, Sheriff before, he was the guy that, we all had the feeling that he's a great player that didn't really get the chance to shine on the roster he was on. How is his potential from what you've seen? What do you expect from this guy?
I think personally he's gonna do really good. I mean, today he was playing super well in lane and everything. It was just the team we were playing against didn't allow Draven to do much because he couldn't even hit in team fights more than once.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna show up, and I think in Origin, right now he's being more confident. When you watch him play, he's more calm. He doesn't get nervous, and I think for a semi-rookie, I think that's really good to have because he can only get better from there.
Who's the main guy on your roster? Who is or the captain or the guy you're expecting the most from? Or is that not something you think about because you're just developing right now?
I mean, obviously, you don't pick a favorite
know, Nuke
child,
Duck.
Instantly. But
Instantly, implying you
He's
pick one
waiting.
eventually.
later you pick
In
a favorite
puberty, you
child.
pick like whoever.
Oh, man.
Favorite.
I think different roles, obviously. Cold was one of the players we knew from the get-go we really, really wanted to get early on because for us, one, what he brings as a player individually, especially what he showed last year where he started playing more carries, we felt like was at a very high level. But he he's a leader type without being the guy who necessarily like stands up in the room and tells everyone to sit down. Just the way he is, like he's the most.
He has a good personality.
He's the most like mature, mature like pro gamer
Strong,
in a
silent
lot
type.
of way. Yeah, but like he knows what he wants. He cares a lot about a lot of things like Astralis players cares about, like Refresh cares about, and now Origin with things outside the game are actually important. How you eat, how you behave, how you talk to each other. Super, super key for how you build a good team. And he brings all these things. So it's very easy when you have a guy like him to say, okay, this is a great type to have in the jungle because he's also super, super vocal. Like today, the first 15 minutes is like constantly, and that's exactly what you want from someone like him. So I think when it comes to like culture-wise, he's a perfect fit.
So trust
Fantastic.
Officio to pick the Danish player.
And to keep
There's one of the big narratives, of course, Mythy coming back, struggled in NA, and a lot of expectation which Mythy's going to show up and which variation, the original OG Mythy or the TSM Mythy. So tell us a little bit about like his mentality, how hungry he is, and where you think he's going to end up by the end of the split.
I mean, I know him from the past, and I know how he is when he's motivated. He's a hungry person, right? He always wants to win. He wants to get the most out of the team and out of himself. And I think right now how the team is working, I think he is really motivated, and he's just gonna get more motivated to prove everyone wrong, because I feel like he's getting everything he wanted out of an org right now. And I think it's gonna be OG Mythy sooner or later, because he's putting in the hours as well.
that sounds fantastic.
It also became a no-brainer to pick him up when we found out he actually was available.
Yeah.
It's rare. I've witnessed a veteran player who's played since 2013 now call you up like 7 times, doesn't matter what time it is, just to talk about how he wants to be on this roster. He just wants to prove everyone wrong, show how good he can actually be. And when you just hear that from someone who's played for so many years and you know how good he was, before, it becomes really, really easy, because we also know that Mythy brings a ton of things outside of the game as obviously a veteran and a shot caller.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joy, I mean, even though the game wasn't won, I think it was a positive game from him. His first game, definitely so. So we'll only.
We don't panic after one game.
I would say, by the way, I think with the exception of Misfits Rogue, I think the other 4 games were a lot more competitive than even I was somewhat expecting. We saw a lot of good things from a lot of teams and players today. And even if you just take the upsets off the table, there was only 1 blowout.
Yeah.
And for week 1 spring, that's an encouraging sign, an exciting sign. And hopefully these teams can continue to play well throughout the split.
I completely agree. In a second, we're going to look at the schedule. But first, let's talk about some other things that aren't necessarily pertinent to the game, yet important. So, Deficio, you only get 1 chance for this, and it's a long time coming. Why did you break up with Quickshot for Peke?
Especially, you never did it to my face either. You didn't even call, not even a text.
You can barely look at you, mate. I'm used to this now, so.
I mean, it's just an improvement in every way, pretty much.
But I don't even say anything. Literally, like the camera is on the 2 guys.
You don't have to say anything. That's a first.
Peke got it.
Even I rock the white hair better.
Actually, I will say when I saw that, I knew I made the right choice. I was like, wait a minute, nope.
This wasn't meant to turn into a bashing Trevor segment. You were supposed to
I
be,
understand.
say
the love
nice
is gone.
things to Trevor.
The love is gone. And you know
Soon
what?
the hair will be gone too, hopefully.
I just wished he could have called me.
I agree.
No, it's
I
way
heard in the
easier to let
interview,
Riot announce
you
that we made it
ignored
in.
You ghosted Trevor
And I didn't have
joined
to say
an
anything.
organization.
Ghosted me so hard, I dyed my hair.
And now you look
And I
like
didn't
cancer.
answer him. I didn't answer him for like a month as well.
Yep, that's it.
Now tables of 10 for some reason, you don't answer
Yeah,
me.
I mean, how are we going to put this back on something positive? This is difficult. This went a whole different way.
I mean, talk about me and Peke. That's great.
All right,
Yeah.
okay. Can you
look to the future.
actually, on a bit more, I mean, not serious.
That was good,
funny
actually.
note.
That was good.
Peke, can you say something about what it's been like to work with the Fish Show, and then he can say the same thing about you.
Yeah, at first.
Doesn't have to be dirty, don't worry.
Wait.
I mean, it can be.
No. At first, he was really respectful. I was a bit scared because he came all suit up, with those flowers in the shirt. And I mean,
Dressed better when he was with me.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I mean, I liked it the first day I met him. At first, he was we know each other for a long time, but we never really got to know each other that much. So I think we're still first step of the relationship, pretty much. Like getting to know each other, getting more confident, making dirty jokes. all that kind of stuff. I mean, it hasn't happened that often as you guys might think. Only a couple of times I think he has
I don't
crossed the
say
line
anything.
That's
so
great.
far.
All right, so the official.
But it's been really fun,
It's been
and he's a
Man,
great guy.
You could have mentioned all the great work we're doing. but
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, but-
You can do that.
Oh, we're
official.
talking about the works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it snappy.
Keep it snappy. I mean, I knew obviously what kind of relationship we would have from before when I felt like we were pretty close, but fair enough. Maybe we were not.
You should tell, he slept in my house once. remember.
I borrowed his apartment in Spain as well. Anyway, I think with Pekka, you
How
know,
I find out.
you get a person who is obviously gonna like whenever he walks into a room, everyone starts smiling because you just have like a really cheerful, charming person that makes it really easy. Especially if someone is down a little bit and it's been a rough day or something. Pekka is the kind of guy who brings everything back up. So I think
the
that's been
mascot of the
super
team.
valuable. Mascot, I wouldn't say. I would call him the founder of Origin. And that's way better than mascot.
No, I was kidding, of course. That's lovely,
He's great to work
actually.
with.
Both very lovely sentiments. And now you have to say something nice about Trevor because I haven't forgotten how mean you've been.
I think your casting was better than Vedia's today.
All right, there we go. All right, enough banter.
take it.
Let's take. Oh, did you want to?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shocks, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but do you happen to know when does Origin play?
When does Origin
She
play?
asked already.
No, but when does Origin play?
When does Origin play?
I'm not
Tomorrow.
when, but when?
Last game.
Last game?
Game 5.
Pekka, when does Origin
Yeah,
play?
tomorrow.
Last.
I've just never been able to do this with
Wait, it's not
This is
tomorrow.
so
It's actually
close.
today. It's like 1 a.m.
Tomorrow.
It is actually pretty late.
It
so
is. It's today.
Yeah.
When does
Oh,
Origin
today.
play? They
Today.
play today.
Yay! Last game of the day tomorrow versus Fnatic. Ooh.
Yeah, don't move out of the stream. We'll be back soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna sleep here actually in these chairs.
Well, let's see. Let's
so,
see.
Also
Who are we
important,
beating
guys.
tomorrow?
We're gonna be starting at 5
Fnatic,
p.m.
guys.
tomorrow. Today we started at 6. Actually, we'll be starting at 4:30 with the Ready Check. It's gonna start with G2 versus Schalke.
That's a banger.
Quick prediction round. G2 Schalke.
Yeah.
Schalke.
G2.
G2.
XL Rogue.
XL.
Oof, I don't know.
Tie.
That's a tie.
Excel. Row.
That's a
tie for me.
Row.
Splice Vitality.
Splice.
Oh, Vitality.
Splice.
Yeah.
Misfits SK.
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 Ooh,
I'm gonna go Misfits.
Misfits
Yeah,
and
just to
Origin
be a troublemaker.
Fnatic.
Origin.
I mean,
Origin.
come on.
Origin. Clear.
Origin.
Hey, you're
Clear
going Origin
winners.
tomorrow?
Listen, I'm probably gonna vote for you every game. Just
There we
because
go.
I'm gonna try to win your love back.
Fnatic is a wounded animal right now, you know? They didn't win today.
so
They
are
had
we.
to
We
be
lost
a little-
too.
But nobody expected you to win, so like it's strange. So sorry.
I
just
voted
stats
for
wise.
Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
me
know
too.
what? Maybe I'll change my vote to Origin too for tomorrow. Why
We'll
not?
check. I haven't logged my votes yet. So
I
I'll have
think
to figure it out
if more than half of the people vote for Origin,
Who will win?
we're guaranteed to win.
Yeah. Give a like for Origin to win tomorrow.
Yeah, go follow them on Twitter.
I'm also going to find out how well StatSpot does. StatSpot was only a couple points behind Officio, who did win the Superior Analyst, but it's AI. It's smarter than you are. So,
Wait, you mean last year or what?
Yeah,
last year,
last
last
year. Oh,
summer.
really?
StatBot's placed third.
Wow.
So yeah, it was you, Vedia, StatSpot. And our stats team have put together this AI algorithm
Yep.
specifically to take down the ego that is
So,
deficient.
so
That
the
is
algorithm said we were gonna win today.
Yeah.
It
Yes,
did.
So
it-
that's
But
the
that's
first
based on
prediction
blue
of the
side.
year.
Someone told me it's
So
based on
we're
blue
winning.
side.
Side
Easy proof.
prediction. But
Yeah.
yeah, well,
So
Okay,
it
okay.
automatically picked whoever had side selection today because there's no data to go on.
Oh, okay.
And then he'll just
Oh.
pick
That
the
makes
sense,
highest ranked.
I thought they were
team
running
now
numbers
on.
from last year or something, being like those players put together. They...
it's not. It's not that we don't have to spend that much time.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, before we go, if there's one thing you want to take away from this first LEC split with Origin, what would it be?
A lot of wins.
Well,
No.
a lot of wins
No, no,
in
yeah.
the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Yeah. So is it playoffs already? Is that the goal?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
making playoffs. Yeah.
Minimal.
I
Yeah.
think main thing I want to take away is just I want this whole new setup and surroundings we have around our team to succeed.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing for me in spring. Actually, no matter where we end,
Mm-hmm.
living in Copenhagen, traveling into Berlin, working with the non-gaming staff we have, working together with Astralis. Like I want all those things to actually click and be really successful, so we can see a big difference, and then we know the more we do this, the better it's going to get. Like that's the number one thing for me in spring.
Okay, fantastic.
So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, pretty much the same. Having the players at the end of the split be happy, and actually share with us, with the team, regardless of the result or anything. Just be like, it was a great split. We wanna look forward and do better.
Plus a lot of wins in playoffs.
Plus
Wow.
a lot
Oh
of
man, a
winners.
ton of wins in playoffs.
I mean,
And
you
that's
just
the
need a couple to win the whole thing.
At least
That's
5
the
v
extra.
What do you think of the new playoff format, by
Love
the way?
it.
You
I
love
gave
it?
some feedback on it as well a couple of
Sure.
months ago, and the only thing I was scared of was the whole, like, if 1 and 2, when they play each other the first time, if that's like a 3-0 stomp,
Yeah.
you're kind of like, oh, you know, when you go into the actual final. But I think everything else all the way up, super high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really hope that we're going to be, you know, a bit lucky as well that those turn out good. But I think no matter what, it's a lovely system. If you guys haven't heard, there is a new playoff system here in the LEC. You can find the info online. LEsports tweeted it. It's on eu.lesports.com as well.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, we're wrapping up for the day, but just a shout out to everybody that's stuck with us. It has been a bit of a bumpy one.
Yes.
So apologies for that. We are working on it and really excited to be back tomorrow.
Definitely. I mean, all the rest here is awesome. We had some bumps on the road, but tomorrow we're going to give you a very, very good show once again. And for this year, we've also created a new channel on YouTube for the VODs, youtube.com/LOL-esports-VODs, where you can find all the games from the LEC, the LPL, the LCK, the LCS. And so it's easier for you guys to find that if you missed anything. Now, coming up
LCS.
next
What
here
is that?
is the LCS Academy.
2018.
And after that, you will also be able to catch the rebroadcast of our show. And after that, it's going to be 5 p.m. and you can watch the new show. So that's going to be
It's actually true. Never
Yeah.
stop watching LEC.
Never stop
Nope.
watching. So that's going to be it from us here for our first day of the LEC. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peke and Official, thank you so much for joining me. A pleasure as
We'll
always.
see you tomorrow when
Yeah.
we talk about the
right.
great win.
Yes,
That's
there we
true.
go. Then you can join us again. So you guys at home, meet us tomorrow for more League of Legends. Until then, have a great night.